Hi everyone. Good morning. Can you please acknowledge? I'm not able to hear you, or please unmute yourself. Okay. Let's wait for 5 minutes. Then we'll start the session. Hi Shailaja, you are able to hear me?
Yeah, I'm able to
Okay.
hear.
Okay. Great. We'll wait for 2 more minutes and then we'll start the session. Hi Naga, you are able to hear me?
Yeah,
Great.
I
Okay, great. Then we will start the session. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Actually, people are joining from different regions as well, as I came to know. So let me introduce myself. My name is Neeraj Arora. I'm having 15 years of experience in IT, and I have started my career as a development engineer, and then I started as a Azure solution architect. I'm working for the US based organization where I'm dealing with multiple clients on Azure consulting. Okay, so let's get started. Just introduce yourself for quick 2 minutes. That will be good. Harsha, can we start from you? Harsha, you are able to hear me? I think you are on mute. Okay. Naga, can you just start introduction? Just 5 minutes.
Yeah, sure. I'm Nageshwar. I have around 13 years of experience in IT, and I am working as of now. I am working on ERP systems.
Good to know.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Shailaja?
Hi, good morning all. Myself Sailja, and I'm working in a pharma industry past 14 years onwards.
Okay, good to know. Thank you for introduction. I think Harsha, you can just rejoin yourself one more time. I'm just unmuting you. Okay. Let's wait for Harsha for 1 minute and then we'll start the session.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Yes, I'm Harsha. I joined from US and
Mhm,
I have like over 13 years of experience with various Microsoft technologies.
mhm,
So I just want to upgrade myself and I'm looking for, you know, to learn something in the lines of Azure Solution Architect.
mhm. Good. Yeah. Thanks, Harsha. Thanks for your quick introduction. Okay, let's not wait time and then we'll start the session. Okay, so okay, just introduction to Azure and its services. Just let me start and let me go into the history, like why Azure came into picture and what is the need, or what is the actual requirement of cloud services. Leave about Azure. What's the requirement of cloud services? Why it has been introduced? Do you have any idea? Any idea? Anyone can just unmute yourself and speak. Anyone? If I want to call out Harsha, just tell me, just quick, what's the thought process
Yeah, I mean,
behind?
it's a cloud version of databases.
Mm-hmm,
So they're all managed at a centralized place and it's owned by Microsoft.
mm-hmm. Okay, okay, good to know. Yeah, thanks. See, let me tell you, first, like when how the history of cloud services started. Okay, I'll just tell you. JCR Licklider. I think you know or you don't know the name, but I'll just introduce him. JCR Licklider in 1960. He's a computer physicist who introduced cloud services. We call it as an ARPANET. He was working for the military application. So he got a thought like in next 100 years or next 200 years there will be big data, and to handle those data and the services we need one storage or we need a storage which the data will be mounted on the disk, and that information will be shared across all the people who are there on the network or who are there on the system. So the first founder of the cloud computing architecture is called JC Licklider. And again, later on, he had brought some papers and he has done some very good research. You can just, when you are free time, you can just go and read his article, which will be very good for you, just for the beginners. And then later on, as a cloud service provider, AWS was introduced. AWS in 2008. Okay, we call it as a EC2, Amazon EC2, for just to store the documents and just to access the documents. And later on, Azure introduced in 2010 as a Windows Azure. Again, uh, post that they have renamed it as Microsoft Azure in 2014. This is just a basic Azure introduction, and then later on GCP came into picture in 2008. They introduced Google Docs, okay, on 2008. We call it as a Google Docs. No, you upload, you save files, you download. No, so Google Docs were introduced. Okay, this is just introduction of the cloud. And why the cloud services are needed. Cloud services are needed because very easy to expand and very easy to scale up, and there is no maintenance activity from the user end. It is everything will be maintained by the vendor, just you have to pay how you use. That is the main advantage of the cloud services. Okay, any cloud service provider you take AWS, you take Azure, you take Google. So these are the main service providers in the industry. There are many more, like SAP is there, IBM is there, Deloitte is there. So again, many more, but popular services are Azure, AWS, and GCP. Okay, let's get started with the introduction. Okay, you guys are able to see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. See, I'll just cover in this session today on introduction to cloud computing, like, and what are the benefits of cloud computing. In this, I will cover like which are the main key roles we have to use, and which are the what you mean by terminology, like scalability means what, availability set, availability zone, and how many regions the cloud services are there, and what are the different cloud hosting models. So everything I'll explain, and I will even do a comparison of what is AWS, what is Azure, and what is GCP, and these are which are the services these three cloud service providers are offering. So on that I will explain, and Azure benefits, like why you need to use Azure and what are the services which Azure offers, I'll explain. And I'll explain on the data centers, like where are the Azure data centers are hosted and their global infrastructure. On those aspect we'll talk, and I'll explain even what you mean by availability zones and what is mean by high availability. And I will even talk about different Azure services just as a sample. Okay, let's get started. Okay, now this is introduction to just cloud computing. Main advantage of using cloud computing is where you can expand your resources in the sense like you can expand your machines. Suppose you are using one VM is a virtual machine, and you have a 4 gig of capacity and 5 CPU core, but suddenly you got a requirement from your client stating, hey, my user base is increased from 10,000 to 50,000. Currently, with this configuration, we will not be in a position to serve all the traffic. So in that aspect, if you have on-prem, it is very hard to assign one more virtual machine, do a load balancing, assign a public IP, and make a configuration, and then serve for the demand. So with the cloud architecture, with the cloud computing, with the AWS or with the GCP, with Azure, in 5 to 10 minutes, you just do the configuration. We need core, that is, we call it as a virtual machine scale set. You add how much capacity you want, you add how much core CPU you want, you can add how much computation unit you want, and then you can scale it as simply in 5 minutes, and that our infrastructure is ready for you, and that will serve the purpose what you need just up in a matter of 5 to 10 minutes. So that flexibility you will get with the cloud. And cost effectiveness in the sense, whenever there is a need, I'll just tell you a simple live example. Like, you will be seeing Maruti, you will be seeing Maruti organization, you will be seeing Mahindra. They will do a launch event. Like, they whenever they will release any new vehicle, they will do a launch event. So for launch event, people will be logging into their systems and they will do pre-booking. So for this kind of a site where you get a very huge traffic on a single day, on a 2 days or 3 days, so at this point of time, the existing application which they have deployed in the cloud, that will not work, or that will get crashed. So what people will do before pre-launch, or before on the day of pre-launch, they will scale their applications, like to serve see 1 CR, 2 CR, or 10 CR request in single second. So with that infrastructure, they will able to serve, or they will able to make their application live without any issue. So that is a flexibility, and how much they utilize on a single day, that much only they have to pay for the services. So that is one of the advantage. And key concept is on demand. Here, on demand, you can utilize storage, you can utilize computer resources, you can utilize uh, what I can say, different services which are provided by cloud. Second thing is network access. So one advantage is, suppose your client is based in US, and some of the clients are based in Singapore, and some of the clients are based in Australia. So with the network access, Microsoft, Google, and AWS, they have different data centers available in different regions. The reason being, if your client is in Australia, you can select the Australia as a data center, and you can host the applications. It is very easy or convenient for the user, where they can access the data and the resources which are deployed in Australia region, and the latency will be reduced, and you will have a much security, compliance, everything you can follow. If your client approach, whenever where is you have a client which is there in US, you can select the data center, so everything will be compliant by that service. So this we call it as a broad network access. So whenever suppose I have my client which is in US, if I host my application in Australia, the latency is too much. If you, even though you developed a fully fledged application, fully performance tuned application, but client will face a delay. The reason being network access. The request will come from the US and it reaches to Australia. So the latency between the due to the distance, it will become a latency. So you can avoid this thing by hosting the applications into the business units. Where your business units are present, you can select the region and you can deploy. And now uh, resource pooling. Suppose you can share the same computer resource for multiple applications. Now what I will do as an user, I'll just go create one virtual machine. Just I will do an IIS, infrastructure as a service. I'll just take, and I will use for multiple purposes. Like, I can install SQL on the same machine, I can deploy my applications on the same machine, and I can deploy my Windows applications. So, and you can share that information by doing a public IP or by doing a private IP internal your computer organization, internal your network, or to the end users. Okay. Am I fast? Am I slow? Just comment me so that I can pitch. I can go down and I can come up. Say yes, no.
Yeah, it's fine, but bit low means it's better.
Okay, fine. I know I'm a little fast. I'll just make my speed down, my speed low myself. Okay. Yeah. See, one thing I just wanted to understand, like introduction, why I'm giving this introductions means there are different services are available in any of the service providers like GCP, Google Cloud Provider, Amazon Service Providers, and Azure. Based on your requirement, based on your cost management, you can choose. Okay, why Azure? Because Azure is offering multiple services than AWS and GCP, and they are expanding their data centers in many regions. Almost they are into 69 to 70 regions, and they are offering with all availability sets, all availability zones, and with good network infrastructure. So that's why compared to the market share, Azure is gaining better. Second is AWS, and third is GCP. So this is a quick introduction of cloud computing and the services which they are providing. Okay, next, I'll just go next. Okay, yeah, same thing. Benefits of what is the main benefits of cloud computing is scalability. Just I told you VM. If you wanted to attach any resource, you can just add up a resource in the configuration. You can do scale up. And cost saving here, whenever there is a need or whenever there is a requirement, then only you can use it. Like we have a subscription called pay as you go in Azure. If you select that, only there is a network transactions, or only there is a inbound and outbound rules, what I can say, communication between the different components. They will measure it as a unit, and then they will do a costing on that. And flexibility and access, you can access Azure from anywhere, even though you host in North Europe, and you can access it from India. And if you host your application from India, you can access it from Singapore. So flexibility and access you can do. And disaster recovery, this is we call it as a availability set and availability zones. Here you can suppose you need high availability, like your application needs high availability, and you wanted to host in multi regions. So at this point of time, one application is down, user will not come to know that one region is down, because you have multi-region application. You can stop the request for that region, and you can only send the traffic to the region which is up and running. So here disaster recovery will be maintained. And time to market, it enables a rapid deployment. And how the business evolved, based on the business needs, the services are offered in the cloud computing. And security, we have because these are the securities. In security, I just wanted to call out like a token based, OAuth based, and on-prem AAD based authentication services, multi-factor authentications. So these are the security wise. Encryption, data encryption, whenever you wanted to do any encryption, you can even Azure, AWS, and GCP will offer you cloud encryptions as well. Okay. Okay, these are all on all the security aspects. I'll just move on. You can just stop me whenever you find any doubt, or you wanted to question me. Just unmute yourself and talk. There is no harm in doing that. Okay, now cloud computing deployment models. I'll just explain these things. Okay, there are again, once you go to the cloud, there are again three deployment models, 3 to 4. Some people will call it as 4, some people will call it as 3, but majorly categorized into 3. One is public cloud, second is private cloud, and third is hybrid cloud. Okay. So I just wanted to ask, like, any, like, do you know, like, public cloud, private cloud, or hybrid cloud? Anyone can just tell me before I start it? Unmute yourself and please let me, so that I can feel people are not sleeping. Yes,
Yeah,
Asha.
as the name public cloud is like everything is hosted on like enterprise like Microsoft Azure or AWS.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh, even in our company, like we have SharePoint, which is completely on public cloud.
Mm-hmm.
So we have some applications which are in-house
Mm-hmm.
and kind of in hybrid environment.
Okay. Okay. Good. Good. Thanks. I think Sunil Yadav is joined recently. Like, Sunil, you wanted to show some light on what's the idea of this deployment models. If you don't know, that's fine. Sunil, if you are you are on unmute. Okay, I'll just mute. Okay, fine. I think is unable. Okay, fine. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, thanks. Okay, let me help you to understand what is the cloud computing deployment models. Okay. See here, this public cloud. Okay. If you choose public cloud, there is no maintenance cost involved. Okay, this will be completely taken care by the cloud service providers. Like, for huge data centers, like data centers are very huge, like in 2 acres or 5 acres or 10 acres of land, they will do, like, they will build all the infrastructures, and they will take off power, they will take off the cooling system, they will maintain the hard disk, they will maintain the resource infrastructure cost, everything. So if you choose cloud computing, no maintenance cost you need to pay. Second, they will give you high scalability and flexibility. Like, uh, you wanted to expand your resource, or you wanted to take one more services, or you wanted to do some of the services, like SaaS offering, PaaS offering, so everything will be provided you in the public cloud offering. And second is complexity. If you maintain your on-prem and if you maintain your cloud, scaling up is a big issue. Second, high availability. Suppose in your office or in your region there is some power cut and the power backup is not there, so there's maintaining everything is very difficult for the existing on-prem services. So that's why people are moving into cloud. The reason being, they will not have any headache, they will not have any what I can say, cost maintenance. They should not take off the people's management. Everything will be maintained by the uh, cloud service providers. Okay, pricing, flexible pricing. This is one of the major advantage. uh, if you host your applications in on-prem, either you use those service or either you not use those service, but you have to pay for the hardware and you have to make that setup. So that is a flexible cost once you move to the public cloud. Even though you utilize or you not utilize in on-prem, you have to bear for the cost. Here, you utilize, then only pay. You don't utilize, don't pay. Okay, that is one of the major advantage if you go for public cloud. Again, uh, these are the service providers like AWS, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud provider. We call it as a GCP. So these uh, three service providers will offer us public cloud. Okay, main one drawback, even though I'll tell you a drawback of public cloud is you don't have much visibility on the hardware infrastructure, and you don't have uh, like decreased security. You will not feel, suppose you save your data you save your one terabyte of data, 2 terabyte of data, and you will feel that this data is secured or not, or this is being managed with security or not. So those things under, you will have little doubt, and it is little bit cost compared to the infrastructure wise. You have to pay for the cost how you use the service. So that is three drawbacks which I can give you in public cloud. Okay, once let's move on to private cloud. What do you mean by private cloud? What is the main difference in public and private? In private means uh, they will use, they will give you a resource which is not shared. We call it as a multi-tenant or shared services. They will give dedicated only for you, but cost is little much higher. And on that server, on that cloud data center part, they will not allow the other vendors or the other organization to host their application. They give you dedicated rack. You can use it for your own application host management and data management and everything whichever you needs. So that is called as a private cloud. Just one simple example I'll tell you in private cloud. ASC, if someone knows, I'll just tell you these concepts in the upcoming sessions. We call it as an ASC, App Service Environment. Okay, this is a PaaS offering where Microsoft is giving you a kind of a private cloud where this in a whole data center on the rack, they will give you specific location where other people data and other services will not be hosted, but it is very costly, but they are providing you as a private cloud. Because this is the very important, few government organizations, few big companies, to secure the data, they will opt for private cloud. And even for the data retention policies and data management, people will go for private cloud. Okay, second, high scalability, same thing. If you wanted to increase private cloud, they will give you an option to scale also, scale up and scale down. Here you can perform computation resources and everything, whatever the services they offer, every services will have this private cloud deployment model. And more efficient, private cloud is also more efficient. The reason being, this resources are not shared, and this is only used by your organization. So this will be more efficient and more faster. Data management and customizable. You can, if you don't want to use, again you can reduce the computation unit. That flexibility also provided by the Microsoft. So how much you use, that much also you can pay in the private cloud. This is private cloud example. Okay, now some of the open stacks like Microsoft Azure OpenStacks and VMware Cloud, these are the things you can use it. Okay, let's move on to next slide. Hybrid cloud. Okay, so hybrid cloud in the sense it's half, we can say some of the resources are there in public and private, and some of the resources are there in on-prem. So you wanted to integrate these services, that will call it as a hybrid cloud. Just one example I will provide. uh, what you mean by hybrid cloud. Suppose I have my applications, suppose Facebook, or just for an example sake, I'm just taking Facebook. You have hosted your application, facebook.com. Facebook.com is hosted in Azure cloud. Okay, then those databases, because some company feels that we should own the data, and they have a capability, and they have a manpower, and they have a resources to maintain those services, so they will take out the data. They have their own on-prem infrastructure. They will do maintain their own database setup in their own on-prem servers. So only application scalability wise, they will choose public cloud deployment models. They will choose private cloud deployment models. They will host their application into the public and private deployment models as per their needs. Only to communicate to the database or the data, they will use on-prem. So this is mixed and combination of public and private, so that we call it as a hybrid cloud. Okay, because to leverage the benefit of both public and private cloud, and they wanted to secure their data, and they don't want to expose to the even cloud service providers. That's the reason they will maintain their own on-prem, and they will use the applications public and private models to host or to use the resources, and they can communicate. So these are the topics, like how the communication will happen, what is vnet, what is firewall. So those things and all I'll explain in next sessions. It will give you idea. And we have a little bit examples like AWS Outposts, Azure Stack Hybrid Cloud, and Google Anthos. We call it as an Azure Arc. Azure Arc is again one of the intermediate component where we can connect multiple cloud providers. Suppose your application is in AWS and my application is in Azure. I wanted to communicate with which service cloud service provider. We have an options. We can use Azure Arc or Azure Stack Hybrid Cloud or AWS Outposts. So with this, you can communicate multiple services together. Okay, this is one of the cloud computing deployment models where you can utilize this public cloud, private cloud, and hybrid cloud. Okay, so let's move on to next. Yes, in this cloud computing services, we have three models: IaaS, infrastructure as a service, and PaaS, platform as a service, and SaaS. We call it as a software as a service. Okay, these are the three service models we have, and this again comes in what public, private, and hybrid. This IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS are again distributed internally. Like just think about the service models: infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. So now with respect to Azure, I will talk. These service offerings are there in multiple cloud providers, but with respect to Azure, I will speak. Okay, what is IaaS, what is SaaS, and what is PaaS? Okay, now IaaS, okay, infrastructure as a service. Here, if you take IaaS, okay, infrastructure as a service, so only applications, data, runtime, middleware. Okay, I'll just write so that you will understand. Let me use my whiteboard here. Okay, let me clear this. I'll take a new sheet. You guys are with me? Just say yes, no.
Yes.
Okay, okay, good. I'll just do an erase here. Okay, let me start. Okay, so here I'll just put a text in IaaS. Okay, I'll just put some text in IaaS. Vendors means cloud service providers. They will maintain virtualization. Virtualization. Okay, virtualization means all the networks and servers. See here, servers. Okay, and storage. Storage. You can note it down if you want, and networking part. Okay, networking. Okay, so these are the services which are maintained by, which will be maintained by Google or AWS or Azure. Okay, these are the virtualization means, suppose you wanted to add one more server, you wanted to maintain networking, Google Azure backbone network will be automatically updated to the servers. So these are the services which will be maintained by the uh, okay Azure cloud, Azure provider. Now which will not be maintained. Okay, I'll just take you that. Okay, here application and data and runtime, and I can say OS, and I can say middleware. Okay, so these should be maintained by us, an organization. You guys are able to hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay, these are the services you have to utilize. Like suppose you wanted to host any application, you should, that will be maintained, and data and OS. Suppose if you take an if you take virtual machine, if you take virtual machine from the cloud service provider, and you just choose IIS, so this OS will be maintained by you. Okay, when I will tell you all these things, like how to take IaaS service, how to take PaaS service, what are the PaaS services and what are the SaaS services. Okay, this we call it as a patch. This patching and all, everything you have to maintain, and middleware, like any networking, connectivity, VNet, subnet, and load balancing, everything will be, should be done by your end. Okay, these are the services which cloud service provider will take care. These are the services you have to take care. This is in IaaS. Okay, this is in infrastructure as a service. Okay, but once in on-prem, everything, these virtualization, servers, network, storage, application, data, runtime, OS, and middleware, everything should be taken care by organization only. But if you come to Azure cloud, this will be maintained by the cloud, and this should be maintained by the organization. Okay, I'll just rub it, and we'll go for PPT. Okay, this is IIS. Okay, you can see services are high scalable, dynamic and flexible, and a few of the GUIs and API based access you can do, and automated administrative task you can do. These this offers comes in IIS. You can see compute, storage, load balancer, and network. So compute as a service, this computation service, we call it as a virtual machine. Storage, few of the storage we will attach a disk, or we'll take some services which are maintained by us. Okay, network, like you do VNet, subnet, switch, routers, hubs, spokes. These are the components which comes in network. And load balancer. Okay, load balancer, these are the services which will be given by the service providers. Okay, what are the advantages? Pay as you go, like how much you can utilize, that much you can pay, and it will give you all the access whenever, anywhere. And this, I told you, like IAS is a kind of a shared infrastructure, and on demand. If you wanted to scale it from one virtual machine to five to 10, on demand you can scale it. So these are the main advantages of IaaS, infrastructure as a cloud. Okay, now let's move on to, okay, little disadvantages. We have disadvantages in the sense security. That's why I told you, like on the data part, on the security, few people are still quite not confident. So on the security aspect, you have to think, man, maintenance and upgrade. I told you the patches. Suppose if you take one virtual machine and you wanted to upgrade it by security, by AAD, so you have to maintain those all the softwares. You have to write a patches, and for that you need to allocate one resources. So those things and all should be handled by your own organization. and interoperability issues. Sometimes if you are not using, or sometimes VM goes down again, you have to reboot that image and you have to take up. So again, these are the things which like slightly a disadvantages in IIS. Okay. Yeah, till now, if you have any questions in mind, you can just ask me. I'll pause for 2 to 3 minutes, and then I will move on to PaaS and SaaS. Till now, any doubts or you need any clarification, please let me know. Anyone? Unmute yourself, talk. I need this session to be in interactive. Yes, sir.
I'm good, Neeraj. No
Okay.
questions.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry, just one question. So, are we going to cover like Microsoft Azure stack as well in our course?
Yes, completely a Microsoft Azure stack. If you want, yes, we'll take one session. That no harm in doing that.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, guys? Any doubts? Can just unmute yourself and speak.
Hello, good morning, sir. Myself, Sunil.
Yeah, Sunil, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, sir, I am looking for IOC.
IOC.
It is Azure uh,
Okay.
Oracle Integration Cloud.
Okay.
Azure also mentioned.
Okay. So that is again a separate course. OIC. I think that is handled by different team. You have to check with uh, Prasad.
Okay.
Prasad.
Mm.
Okay.
They send this link and join on this. This is the
This
demo
is
as well.
this is demo for Azure, completely Azure
Okay.
services, Azure introduction, Azure and Azure AZ 900 and Azure basics. We'll cover in this session. You can
Okay,
just
sir.
just post the session. You can just check with Prasad, who is a coordinator.
Ah,
He'll
okay.
help you on that. Thank you. Any other
Okay, thank
doubts?
you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Any other doubts or anything? Okay. I'll move on to the next topic. Okay. So now we saw IIS. Now we will think about PaaS. So any idea like what is mean by PaaS? PaaS means platform as a service. Everything in IIS we saw we have to maintain OS, we have to maintain a middleware, and we have to maintain a runtime. Okay, I'll just give you one of the examples, like what you mean by runtime, what is mean by operating system. Suppose you have most of them are having Windows 10, and you are able to see the notifications in your system that please upgrade or Windows 10 or Windows 11 went for an upgrade. Same thing happens in cloud also. They, for the virtual machines, they will install Windows Server 19 or Windows 1000 2022. For those operating system also, an upgrade comes. If you take of PaaS offering with IIS, so that has to be maintained by your own organization. So nobody will come and do a restart and go for an upgrade. So that has to be maintained by your organization in IaaS offering, like we call it as a infrastructure as a service. If you come to PaaS, those headache you should not will be taken care by cloud service provider only. You no need to worry about the operating system upgrade. You no need to worry about the runtime stack. You no need to worry about the networking. I'll help you which are the services will be taken care by IaaS. I'll go to whiteboard. Okay, I'll just delete. I'll just delete. Okay, so in PaaS offering, okay, I'll just do one thing here. Application and data. Only these two things should be maintained by organization. Okay, this should maintained by organization. Here, everything, which are the services here, I'll just take this. One minute, facing difficulty here. Okay, here, runtime. Runtime in the sense like Node.js upgrade will be coming and .NET framework update will be coming and Java stack update will be coming. So that latest stack update will be automatically installed by the cloud service provider in virtual machine or in any services. So middleware like NIC update, software update or security patches. So these are the things which comes in middleware. So these services will be automatically upgraded like operating system. We call it as OS. So operating system, this software update will also be maintained by PaaS in PaaS, which from the cloud service provider. And here storage services and networking. So networking. So these are the services which will be maintained even for virtualization. Yeah. Okay. These are the offerings which will be maintained by cloud service providers. Okay. Now let's move on to SaaS. Okay. I'll just move on to SaaS. Let me go to the PPT. Okay, here's okay. Okay, and even one example I'll tell you. What is a PaaS offering? We call it as an app service. App service is one of the best PaaS offering nowadays. People are using to host their applications. Okay, this is one of the PaaS offering which I can tell you. Okay, and we have SQL
Hi
Server.
Neeraj, your voice is little low.
Okay. Okay. Okay, you are able to hear me now? Yes, you are able to hear
Yeah.
me. Okay. Okay, this is one of the PaaS offerings. What we can say, Azure app service. App service is one of the PaaS offering, and we have multiples like Azure Stack is there, and you have SQL Server database is there. So these are the things which comes under PaaS offering. Here PostSQL is there. Okay, and you can choose in PaaS offering, you can just choose a runtime stack. I'll just help you in the next sessions, like what do you mean by app service, because these are the services offered by Azure, where you can choose these services to host your application or to maintain your data. Okay, so this is one of the PaaS offering. I call it as an app service. App service where you can choose the runtime stack like Java, PHP, and Perl and Go. I'll just help you. Okay, let me help you since new. I'll just say Google. Okay, so this is the Azure portal. Okay, this is the Azure portal which we call, and here this is the one of the PaaS offering app service. Okay, how many services we have? So let me open. I think it's okay. See, this is a PaaS offering. You just type app service. Okay, this is an app service. This is one of the PaaS offering we have here. Okay, you can create an app service. This is the web app. Once I click on create, it will start creating. So here you can see runtime stack. This was what I'm talking about. You wanted to host Java.NET. So this software maintenance and everything will be taken care by Microsoft only. Okay, so no need to worry about the runtime stack. So this runtime stack. So this is the only one which I was pointing here. You can see Java, PHP, Ruby, Perl. These are the programming languages. and this database. Once you select the database, I'll just select one of the Redis. I'll just show one of the PaaS offering of Redis. Redis is used to maintain a session or user related data. This is one of the application where we will host. So this is one of the PaaS offering, Redis. Okay, you can install it from the marketplace. Okay, this is the Redis. You want, you can, which Redis server you want, you can create it like this way. Okay, once I hit on create, it will give me all the recommendations. What are the Redis services? These are the Redis. I wanted to use Windows, Linux. I'll tell you what are the things and how this will be maintained. Okay, these are the different PaaS offerings which we will give you in applications. And advantages of a PaaS offering is like low risk and instant scalability and simplified deployments, everything. And functionality wise also it is very good, like no need to maintain operating system or everything. Microsoft will give you full-fledged with latest updated machine where you can just maintain your application code and maintain your application data. That's enough. So that is one of the main advantage in PaaS offerings. Okay, only disadvantage is like suppose you are using a PaaS services in uh, Azure and you wanted to migrate into Google Cloud or AWS, that is not easy job. That is required. We have again migration formation and migration patterns we have, but that you have to plan as a roadmap, and that you have, that will take some time. It's not easy to migrate your application from one service provider to the another. That is one drawback. And data privacy, as I told you, like since you don't have control over the data visibility, but still it will be secured, but not under your organization. It will be completely maintained by my Azure, Microsoft. Okay, and integrations with rest of the system and the application. Suppose you have a application hosted in Azure and you have some dependency services which are in Google or AWS. So integration will become a quick trick here. You have to do again VNet, subnet, VNet peering. So multiple integration services you have to pay, even though that is not needed. So these are the three drawbacks of PaaS services. Okay. Now let's move on to next topic, SaaS. Okay. So SaaS offering. SaaS is completely software based. Okay. Everything, every licensing part, every upgrade part, everything they will provide you, like middleware, OS, operating system, networking, and data, edge servers. Everything will be provided by Microsoft or Azure, what we call it as Azure. Okay. So now here, if I go to my one board, so here application and data, runtime, middleware, operating system, storage, networking, everything. These are all the services that will be provided by Azure only. We call it. Okay. Next, I'll just go to the slide. Okay. And you can see this document management, business services, and this is on demand. Okay. On demand, mailing services on demand. Okay. What are the advantages of SaaS? You no need to pay for the operating system. You no need to license your softwares. No need to take a burden on the hardware, and no need to maintain your networking component, virtualization. Everything will be taken care by vendor only. One best example for the SaaS is Azure Data Factory or data warehousing where you will manage big data, trillions of data you will manage. Like Amazon is one of the service provider where he has to maintain his own data. So they have a SaaS offering, Bitbucket and EC2, so they will use for their services. In if you come to Azure, you will use ADF, Azure Data Factory, where this is one of the SaaS offering where you maintain trillions of data, trillions in the sense like very huge, more than 1000 GB or 1000 GB, 10,000 GB. So this amount of data you will be managing in Azure. So for that, you no need of licensing, you no need of software. Azure will give you SaaS offering and you can use it. Okay, this is one of the main best example for SaaS. If you go to the portal, let me go and check where I get this SaaS offering. ADF. Okay. Data Factory. Okay, so this is the SaaS offering. Data Factories we call, and if you want, you can create your own data. So this is one of the Data Factory. This is one of the SaaS offering where you can use for ADF for creating a data. In next sessions, I'll explain you how to do that. Just a glimpse, okay? Because this is very vast topic. Again, we can make this as one more 15 to 20 days session only for this maintaining ADF and all. Just this is one of the SaaS offering I just wanted to explain. Okay, so today we will, I don't want to continue. Today we'll stop this session. Like I just want you have, if you have any questions, you can just tell me, or if I'm going fast, you can let me know. I'll reduce my pitch. I can slow down myself. Yes, I think iPhone 51. I just wanted to know on the person name. Sorry for that.
Raj,
Hey Raj, hey. Sorry, I think you joined late.
yeah, I got
Yeah.
confused the time.
Okay. Sorry for that. Yeah, going forward, we'll be using the same meeting. You can save the link. So sharp
Okay.
7:75 we'll start. 8:15, 8:20 we'll wind up. 8:30 we'll
Okay.
wind up based on the topic and based on the where I am. If you want me to move forward, I'll just move forward. So any questions till now, guys? You can just tell me.
So what is the length of the course? Like how many days?
It's 6 to 7 weeks, Monday to Friday, 1 hour 15 to 1 hour 30 minutes.
Okay, so this course covers the fundamentals or like till architecture level?
No, like few of the things I'll take architecture which are necessary, like virtual machine architecture I'll cover internally, and web apps architecture I'll cover, and few of the basic functionalities. Especially this course is designed for AZ900.
Okay.
AZ900, where you need to understand the functionalities, you need to understand the settings or the setup while before creating a resource. It's completely touch up to all the services.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, like you can speak if you unmute yourself and let me know like how you felt, or you want me to speed up, or you want me to go in detail. I can do that thing in next sessions. And any questions? Yes, go ahead. Go ahead, Sailaja.
I'm audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Yeah. Mainly, I'm looking regarding this Azure Data Factory and Azure Databricks, Python, and some SQL.
Okay.
So these we will cover all those things, or otherwise we have to take separate sessions for that one. That feasibility is there.
Only we will cover Azure SQL Service database, because you know, right, Azure, if you are working in a data factory, it's kind of a huge thing. Okay,
Okay.
so we will not cover ADF, we'll just cover a service. As a service, we'll cover it, not end to end, in depth, what I can say.
So Python and Azure Databricks also you don't cover in it.
No, Python, because Python is again a separate, because that needs implementation, hosting, deployment, and managing those services. I'll just cover how to host, how to use the services which are there in Azure. Good
So what
question.
type of jobs we will get if we go through this one? What is the
AZ9,
outside?
outside AZ900, where you can do AZ900 certification for the beginner. Again, you have to, once you cover this, then you will be hands-on on the services, like all the Azure services. Post that, you do AZ104 or AZ204, you will be into Python and development activity. If you do AZ204, if you cover 104, you will be Azure administrator.
Okay.
For any,
Later, if you want, I can go through for this Python, Azure Databricks. Maybe there some improvement will be there. If I
yes,
learn that one, any
yes.
opportunity will get in this area. Otherwise, it is irrelevant to that one.
No. It is a basic one. Even though for any Azure, this is the basic fundamental course. You go anywhere. This is a basic fundamental course, like to start with.
Okay.
You
Is
go,
I
yes.
can get that training also here in your institute with respect to Azure Databricks
Huh. That
and
that
data
yes,
factory Python.
yes. You can get all those details. You touch base with coordinator Prasad. He will help you on that.
Okay.
Okay, this is to start, like to know everything. You at least you should know some basic stuff, right? For Azure, in Azure. So that is the course, fundamental course.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Any doubts, guys? You can just ask. Feel free to ask. There is no harm in doing. I'm just waiting for 10 minutes. You can just ask. Hey Raj, you have any doubts? I think you joined the session late. Can just
No, actually, I asked the recording session, so I
that
will see if I.
yeah, that will be that once the session is done, I will upload whatever the recording. So every day you can view it, even though you joined
Yeah.
late or you missed the session. No need to worry. So
Okay.
you just access this recording, because that
Okay.
flexibility will provide that. That is
Okay.
okay.
Thank.
Where can we access these recordings?
We Google Drive. Google Drive link will be shared by Prasad, so you can access it.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions, guys? Any doubts? You can just ask me. I'll wait for 5 more minutes. Feel free to ask. Okay. Can I take it as no?
Uh, yes, Neeraj, I like the pace at which you are going.
Mm-hmm.
I like the class. So
Okay. Good. Thank you. Okay. Good to know.
Thank you.
Okay, then what we do is we'll wind up the session for today. So tomorrow onwards, I'll start with little in-depth and deep knowledge in Azure. So, and we'll do some hands-on sessions, like how to maintain a subscription, managing subscriptions, and all those things. I'll just give you a little glance, and post that we'll cover in-depth services like virtual machines. We'll cover web apps. Service wise, we will touch base so that it will give you little advanced exposure. Okay. Okay, then thanks team. Thanks for joining the session. Tomorrow at 7 we'll start where we left. Okay, I'll just upload the PPT and I'll just upload the video, Prasad is a coordinator from the gigs, so he'll going to share all the links to it. Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time. Bye. Have a great day.